Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN.
Let the battle begin.
Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the Heroes of the Storm podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. I'm joined, as I always am, by Kyle Ferguson, and joining us for the first time ever on this show, developer from Team 1 over at Blizzard Entertainment, Kent-Erik Hagman. Kent-Erik, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the absolute zero warning about removing the title card. I thought I was safe to dance to the music, and then quickly saw my own face. You're not terrified.
Yeah, you're not the first, then you won't be the last.
No, that's important to note here.
Awesome.
Did you help decide who got what dance, and were you performing one of the dances?
Oh, you mean of all the dances we have in our character?
Yeah.
No, they're not gonna give me that power.
That's like that's the dance division. They're their own part.
That's like the animators. Like, all right, finally, I get to do whatever I want. I don't have any stupid designers telling me, oh, we have to do the cast and this quick animate. Like, they can finally do whatever they want. Yeah, so they're not gonna.
It's just 100% fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's pure fun. Like I think Zero Tool's my favorite. He's got like a little boombox for it, right?
He's pretty great. Just the other day, and I've been playing her forever, but just the other day, for whatever reason, we were crushing our opponents so bad that I finally slash danced on Sylvanas for the first time. I didn't know.
What does she do?
She does the dance from Beetlejuice at the end when Lydia.
Oh yeah.
Staircase. I nerded out so bad.
I love her victory animation. Have you seen that? Like if she's near the core when she wins, she just goes.
Oh yeah, golf clap, love it. Dumbledore clap.
Yeah, or like the opening cheers, and everyone's like woohoo. Sylvanas was like yay. It's just like, oh, that's so Sylvanas. I love her.
She's like my goth best friend from high school. Let's just can't.
Totally
doesn't matter how exciting anything is, you can't like smile. It's like Kanye.
No.
You can't smile. It's great.
Not gonna happen.
Well, welcome, man, and so you're here. We've got the Eternal Conflict going on. The PTR just went live this week. Kyle and I have actually had a chance to play quite a few games on the Battlefield of Eternity.
Right.
I got to say, at a first glance, I'm really excited. I'm sure we're gonna pick your brain here in a little bit about some of the changes in the PTR patch notes. But I mean, it's your first time on the show, so we gotta hit you with the introductory questions.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So
what do you got?
Well, what is your official title at Blizzard?
Game designer. I'm a game designer on Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
Or Team 1. Technically, I'm a game designer on Team 1, and Team 1 does both Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft 2.
Gotcha. So, because according to your wiki, you're actually responsible for the original tutorial for Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, that was my. They brought me on to work on Blizzard Dota to do the tutorial, and that was actually I was just telling that to we had a backlog welcome lunch for one of our new designers, and he's like, "What did you did?" I'm like, "Oh, I did a tutorial for Blizzard Dota using Nova, and to teach players how to auto attack and move, and then snipe, and then crippling shot, and then your E was cloak because that was before we ever had traits, and so your E was the cloak ability on Nova, and then turned into Mirrodin." And then we decided to make Vala for the tutorial. And then after about 4 months, we decided to make Raynor for the tutorial.
Oh, jeez.
Because actually at that point in time, we had halted all tutorial development because we were completely overhauling the game. And after that point in time, another designer, Mung, transferred over. And he has a lot of experience doing tutorials for StarCraft 2. And so we gave that to him. And I focused on battleground design from there on out. And then have now since switched over to hero design.
Oh, well, this is great.
Tour of duty.
I'm personally really happy we ended up with Raynor because I'm just a big fan.
Yeah, he's a really interesting hero. Like his E is what makes him the best tutorial hero ever. Like we've done so many like new user studies with him, and it's just like, man, that E like keeps these people like able to like understand the rest of the game, which is awesome. But he's also when it comes to like 0+ MMR play, I would say, so like average Joe's plus, like he's got one of the highest skill floors. Like you need to be good with Raynor in order to actually be functional with him, which is really ironic because like I'd actually say he's got one of the highest skill caps either because positioning is so vital with him. Like you make one misstep, you're dead. Like that's just that. And then plus you have to learn 2 stutter step timings. You have to learn the normal stutter step timing in order to like maximize your deeps, and then you have to learn the stutter step timing when Inspire is on. And you have to be able to switch your muscle memory at a moment's notice as soon as you hit Inspire, and then you need to switch back the second Inspire falls off. And so he's actually remarkably one of the hardest heroes I think to play.
That makes me so happy as a StarCraft fan because you have to do the same thing with Marines and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like Marines, right? Marines, you have to learn the normal stutter step and then the stem stutter step, right? So.
Yeah. Oh, so great, so great. Plus, he's in the tutorial, which means we get to hear a lot more lines from Rob Clotworthy, which is.
Oh yes, that was worth it alone, right?
So, also according to the wiki, it says that you're pretty much focused on hero design now. Is that also true? How up to date is your wiki? Is basically my question now.
I want to know who made that. Like, I saw that one day. I'm like, well, this is creepy. I'm just a normal person. Like, why is there an article about me? Like, this is weird. I'm completely entirely focused on new heroes. Like, I don't even touch like live stuff at all. They have us incubated away, working on stuff you guys won't see for months and months. So I hope you guys like what I do many months from now.
Well, it was cool listening to your old interviews and then knowing some of these things come, particularly like this Diablo event and how you guys are going to roll out things now. But man, that's an envious job, at least from us as the consumers.
Right.
We think you sit around all day coming up with the most awesome stuff you can. It goes on the whiteboard, and then the hard work like goes off to people who have to program and what. So what's the actual process? Like you have an awesome idea for a hero, and then how does that come to reality?
So we have an awesome idea for a hero. We're actually we're still formalizing the process a little bit more, but like one of the things we really want to do is develop a really solid tagline for the hero. That's like it sells the fantasy for the character in 1 or 2 sentences. Like it's really important to us that we nail this because we haven't always in the past. A good example is Jaina. She's a frost mage. She's going to freeze you and then explode you. Like, perfect. Got it. I know what this hero is supposed to do. A bad example, I actually can't think of one off the top of my head. But like, and so like for Butcher, it's like, oh, he's going to carve you up to pieces, and he's going to like, he's the epitome of horror movies. That was really like the fantasy we wanted to chase with him. And Leoric is like, this is the warrior who never dies. Period. He just doesn't die. He does, but not really, but kind of. Yeah, and so like we come up with this tagline, and then we develop like, okay, cool, that's a fantasy that like it just excites me. I have no idea what the kit does at this point in time, and that's okay. Like we want to get that fantasy right first, and then build around that. And so we'll come up with ideas for like, all right, I'm gonna send out a pitch. I've got a trait, I've got a Q, a W, an E, and I've got an R1. I don't have the R2 yet. I'm sorry guys, but what do you think of just this core stuff? And then we'll be like, this is awful for these and these and these reasons. Oh yeah, you're right. That's really good. And I say that we're really brutal with each other, like just because we do this like day in, day out, right? And so we've dropped all pretense with each other, and we're just like, hey, I don't think this will work for these reasons and these reasons. And so, but like we send a lot of emails. You can't be attached to anything you design. Like you have to be ready to throw it in a second. There's a horrible phrase I won't use that gets thrown around about involving small children and not caring about them. But like we have to be able to let go of our own ideas just at a moment's notice because it doesn't serve the gameplay, it doesn't serve the fantasy. Yeah, it's really cool. Let's add that mechanic idea to the backlog. Maybe there's another hero who will be struggling with it. Like, oh, that's a cool mechanic. Let's pull it in, and it matches the fantasy. But there's just a lot of like, I have this really cool idea. Awesome, sweet. It kind of works. Yeah, and then we'll go and play test it. And we're like, this is terrible. It's pulling the entire apart. And you're like, oh, I have to let go of it. And you don't sleep that night because you lost a child, right? And so, or you try to find a home for it later. But like, it just happens like day in, day out. And so like, we'll do this paper pitch for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then finally, once we're good, we'll actually implement it. And so we have an army of technical designers. Shout out to them. They drive our game and they make it possible. We couldn't do anything without them. But they'll implement the game using the Galaxy editor, which is like modified what the StarCraft 2 editor is. And they'll put it in, and then we'll do like an AI play test, and we'll be like, ew, this didn't work, or like, actually, everything's kind of good. And then we'll start rolling into our hero play tests. And from there, it's we nail down the core kit, and then after we've got that kind of nailed, then we start on the talent work. And the talent work takes a long time. Like getting the kit right is actually relatively easy at this point in time, like because we've done it so many times. It's nailing down that second heroic if we didn't start with one. It's nailing down all 15 to 30 whatever number of talents we do for a hero, because we're trying to do more and more specific talents for heroes and less generic talents. and we're still refining our talent philosophy. Like to this day, like we just had a meeting yesterday to discuss it some more. Like, hey, where are we at with the talent system as a whole, and making sure we're all aligned on these values. And like, we'll do these talents, and like I'll like just literally no joke. 10 minutes ago, I was sitting there with one of our other designers. I'm like, here's like 10 level 20 ideas I have for a future hero. No, oh maybe, no. I'm like, like that goes like 20 minutes of my work, and we knowed like 8 of it, and it was right. Like they were bad ideas, and honestly, I'm just spitballing them because they might generate more ideas for us later. But like, we developed these graveyards on our Excel that have like 40 talent ideas that never will see the light of day because they were wrong, because either they filled a hole in the hero's design and we just literally beat our heads against the wall. And like the balance guys will come to us and say, hey, you're gonna have a huge pick rate issue at this tier if you leave it like this. And you're like, you're right. Can we swap it? Oh, if we swap it, then that fills this tree, and then we gotta move this, and then oh gee, it's like this huge Tetris puzzle, right? And so we slave away on the talent system for like 6 weeks, and then at some point in time we have to stop all work because art needs to get in and make art for it.
So you basically have like one of those like detective walls with all the pictures and the strings all tied together, and
yes, it's a giant Excel sheet, and it's like I see the matrix, and like I gotta move this stuff around, and it gets absurd.
And then Brightwing is born.
Brightwing's born.
Well, we heard like what was it? Zagara was gonna have like ultralisks and just some weird stuff. Is there anything that you on a hero that's already come out that you're just so in love with, you wanted them to have, but you had to let go?
Oh, I'm sure. Thrall is what I think of, because Thrall's had like 3 kits. No joke. Like 3 completely different QWs and Rs. Like it was crazy. Thrall was. He was a headache on multiple levels because he's done so many things, right? He had Fire Nova Totem at one time. Oh, that was terrible.
Oh, sweet.
Like he dropped his totem and it like did AoE fire. I was like, cool, totems, and we're like, Thrall's not the totem guy.
That is a good point.
He's not the totem guy. Like, okay.
Now I because that is a cool idea, but then I think of like the flavor of Thrall, and it's like, well, I don't really see him ever carting around.
He's never summoned a totem, right? Like, okay, we can do that on another shaman later, which. At this point in time, it's like, well, if we do a shaman that's not Rhaegar or Thrall, we're kind of like, I don't know, maybe we'll do someone else eventually. And plus, we have enough summons in the game. We don't need another summon. I can't think. Butcher, no, because you guys basically know all Butcher and Leoric. I'm trying to think if they had stuff. There was a different Leoric kit that almost saw the light of day, and that was one where Leoric was. I was playing around with the idea of like Leoric's insane, right? He's the Mad King of Tristram, and so I'm like, oh, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing doing the same thing over. No, that wasn't it. Dang it, what was it? It was that wasn't the lead-in for it. I don't know. The whole idea was like, all right, he's so insane, he's gonna mess with your head. You're not gonna know what he's going to do. And so the idea was like he'd be big, slow, and clunky, but nothing would be telegraphed to the enemy team. So it's like, oh, Leoric's doing his wind-up. I don't know where it's gonna land. I need to move. Huh. Do I? Is he? Just like a very mind game hero. And we're like, he's not the mind gamer. Like. Belial's a mind gamer. Maybe someday we do that. I don't know. And so like I'm kind of sad because like I think that was a cool missed opportunity. Now that being said, let me be very clear. Leoric is friggin' amazing, and our art team killed it, and our sound team killed it, and you guys are gonna love him. And I'm so glad I'm allowed to say all of this, right? Okay. You guys are gonna love him when he comes out in X weeks. I don't think I can say that part. So
sure. Well, we're thrilled to pieces. I mean, he looks awesome. The flavor for this whole event of Battlefield of Eternity is just top notch.
Cool. Yeah, I'm actually just excited to get a Blizzard IP in the Battlegrounds. I think that's really exciting. And I was just listening to like the Eternal Conflict music, and I was like, this is amazing. And then like one of my roommates IMs me, he's like, hey man, I think this is like the best score Blizzard has ever done.
Oh, the fact that it was the Heroes Nexus music, but it's done in Diablo style. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm like, this is really awesome. So like I immediately like took that IM and like forwarded it onto our sound guys. So I'm like, could you please make sure this gets into the right hands? Like this feedback needs to be getting along. And then I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, I hope we can do the same for StarCraft and Warcraft. Like they don't have as unique a sound to them, so I think that'll be a harder challenge for our sound team. But they're amazing. I'm sure they're gonna do something awesome for it, right? But yeah, like I just listening to that acoustic guitar, and it's like, wait, that's the Heroes music, but it's in Diablo. And just like, my head explodes.
Kyle and I today were playing on the PTR, and we were loading into Battlefield of Eternity, and he dropped that bombshell on me. He's like, dude, this music's great. I'm like, yeah, it's really good. He's like, it's so cool that they did the Heroes theme in Diablo. And I would just go, wait, what? And I like, just shut up, just stop talking, and I'm just listening.
I need to listen.
Yeah, it was great. Folks out there, I know there's a lot of you. You play with the music turned off.
Turn it back on.
What?
Turn it back on.
And it's like you wouldn't play Halo with the sound turned off. Why would you play a Blizzard game with the sound turned off?
Yeah.
Like,
it's actually funny. Like, so I turned the music back on my home client, and I forgot I had it off for like, because I mean I've been playing this game for like 3 years now. I'd turned it. I hadn't listened ever to this new Sky Temple or Tomb of the Spider Queen music. So I was hearing that for the first time like a week ago, and I'm like, oh man, they killed it again. Why have I not been listening to this? Like, I should turn my music back on all the time. I was like, I forgot. I'm sorry, music guys. I'm sorry. It's awesome.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Well, now that the PTR's out and folks have had a little bit of a chance to mess around with it, and obviously, I guess, not all of this is guaranteed to go live, but what changes that are coming in the PTR? Is there one or two specifically that you're the most excited about?
Oh, that are already on the PTR?
Right. Yeah.
I think honestly just like having the new battleground. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really going to shake things up. I think it's going to really show like, hey, look, like we've done a bunch of varied battlegrounds. We still have more ideas coming, and so I think that's probably my most exciting change. I think the Brightwing rework is going to be really interesting too once I get out there, because we've been playing internally with that for about like 4 or 5 months now. And so like it always be this weird disconnect. Like I play Brightwing at work, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love this new stuff. Then I go home, I'm like, oh that's right. This is interesting. Like she's like pretty different. And so
yeah, across Brightwing, Malfurion.
Honestly, I don't even remember what's on there. Like so, this is how insulated we are. Like I don't like what changes are you guys getting? I need like a patch notes in front of me. I can't remember what the big ones are.
Well,
other than
Brightwing, Malfurion, and Rhaegar are like losing the majority of their sort of generalized talents: scouting drones and Venom, promote.
Rhaegar were finally. There was a time. All right, so I accept responsibility for this because I had done Rhaegar. We were like, oh, he's a gladiator. He's got this melee attack. He's got the claw, right? Like, there's a sustained auto attack damage build in here, right? And so like we threw a lot of like those talents like focused attack and Syrian attacks and berserk, and then it's been like a year now that he's been out, and it's like, oh, that was a mistake. So those are traps. We should probably just cut those. But our live guys, so like more and more going forward, like our live guys are handling these talent redos, and so we're trying to do like less. We want to really respect the players and understand like, hey, you've grown attached to these characters, so we don't want to change. Brightwing is really the last one that's like, hey, this is a massive overhaul that has like a ton of new art. Like from here on out, like we just want to do more things like you're seeing to Rhaegar, Malfurion, and Vikings, where it's like, the live guys are just trying to do small tweaks here and there. They still are, very major to you guys, but from our perspective, they're a little bit less disruptive, and hopefully that's the case. You guys will give us feedback on that.
Yeah, my gut reaction. I'm a huge Brightwing player. She's definitely my supportive choice at the moment, and my gut reaction is I'm surprisingly happy with the changes. I thought I was gonna get in and just be like, oh, this is like an itchy new sweater. I don't like it, but I like it. I especially like the increased range on her trait.
Oh yes. That's a good one.
Don't have to put myself in harm's way as much.
Right. I think there's just also like a fun variety of builds. You can like, oh, you know what? We have 2 supports. I could go a little bit more damaging. Let me go the Arcane Flare build. It may not be like 100% as competitive as like this crazy support build for like, your rank 1 Hero League games, but like in Quick Match and like, rank 10 plus Hero League games, I think like that build totally has a place in the meta. And so I'm excited that there's going to be more ways to play with the character. Than just like one way that you do all the time. Like we want there to be a lot of replayability with these characters. We don't want we want on game 999 with that character, you pick certain talents, and then game 1000, you actually change it up because of, either A, you wanted to, or B, the team comp and the map comp called for changing up some of the talent choices. Like we want there to be this, it's fresh every time you play, and not just like, oh, I'm just clicking and like, we want you to engage with the system. And so this is our attempt to like try to clean that up, and again, like the community will give us lots of feedback as to whether or not we did that or not.
I like that it really focuses in on what they're good at and keeping their theme. Because Protective Shield and Malfurion, I picked it every time, but it's not quite the regrowth nature thing I want to be doing.
Yeah, he's exactly with like, because I think we removed Protective Shield from Brightwing as well, because like we're like, well, Brightwing, her thing was never single target survivability. A little bit with Pixie Dust, but that was kind of like very conditional. But she was much more like the gentle AoE healing, and so I think we gave her Healing Word, right? I'm trusting you guys who've read the patch notes more recently. I'm pretty sure we gave her healing ward because we're like, that really fits her theme, right? Whereas Malfurion, we're like, he's not the single target burst healer. He's the AoE, hot. You get a hot. We all get tranquility. I'm like, oh, healing ward makes way more sense than protective shield. Like protective shield just fills the hole we deliberately designed in him. Like we want these characters to be really sharp and like this character's really good at this and really bad at this. So we think it makes for more interesting characters and will give the game longer legs.
Now,
that makes sense.
This patch, we're also getting the days changes, which are
oh my god, okay,
pretty big deal.
That's probably my most exciting one. I'm not gonna lie. Like, no joke. Let's see here. It was October of last year. One of our live balance designers, Brett Crawford. Shout out to him. He's like, hey, like, can we do a thing where our knockbacks don't have to stun because it's really like it makes every knockback in the game have all this extra, balance, strength to it that wasn't necessarily intended. And we're like, oh, that's going to leave some crazy stuff. Oh, well, if we do that, we can't do it for a while. Well, here we are 8 months later. We finally get it in. And I'm so excited because, like, it lets us on the design side, like, we can use knockback a lot more, knowing, like, it doesn't mean, oh, also a stun. Like, it means we can put knockback on more heroes in the future, and it's not going to muck with everything like it does right now. Like, we had to be very, because it's like, oh, knockback, it's a stun, but better, and that's not what we wanted. And so this is really going to, like, open up, like, I actually think, so I think Cooper put this in like the what's that called? The thing he did last week with the article. The patch note.
Developers
preview.
Insight.
Yes, Developers Insights, whatever. That like Lily's gonna be strong, and I totally agree. Like, well, so first of all, she's getting the blind change, which is gonna be huge. Like, Johanna, here comes the rise of Johanna and Lily, in my humble opinion. The blind change and the days change means that Jug of 1,000 Cups is gonna be like. Tychus is one of those ironic ones where he benefits from it for his overkill, but it also means his frag grenade. Like he's like,
hey, you guys gave him range. I'm pleased as punch here.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't believe like all of our eyes went like dinner plates the second someone pointed out, hey, did you guys realize that Tychus has a 4.5 attack range? We're all like, why is that there? And like we all looked around like, did you okay this? Did you? No. Oops. Like quick. Fix the 5.5 and like live guys are like, live guys, can we do this? Can we make it normal? And they're like, well, yeah, let's try it. Let's do it. I don't think we have to like do any other nerfs if we do this to him. And so I don't think they nerfed him in any other way. You guys can tell me. I can't keep up with all this stuff.
Yeah,
but, like,
days on frag grenade. I'm not upset.
Yeah. But like it's like we give him this really unique trait that says, hey, you attack super fast, but for super small damage. Cool. This is an attack character. Oh, but we also made your attack really suck and use overkill all the time. Like we totally pulled bait and switch on the players, and I feel awful about that. And so like I'm so glad like we have this like 5.5 coming out. I think it's gonna breathe a lot of new life into Tychus and open up some of those other talents on him. Like I think some of the auto attack talents and the move speed talents will be much more viable on him. At least I hope. I mean, you guys are gonna, the community is gonna tell us in like a month or two. We'll kind of have it figured out if we need to do more to him. But I'm actually really excited about that too. I need to start playing Tychus some more now. I forgot about that. I'm excited.
I've avoided him like the plague because the first time I ever tried him, I had to get too close and just was getting owned. So now, oh sweet, and now I can actually.
I remember like I would play Tychus. I'm like, this guy just must not be for me. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And then like I had to play him a lot because I was doing the Odin rework. So I had to play him a lot, and then I started to realize like, oh, okay, you just like do massive overkill stuff with First Aid, Relentless, and Stone Skin, so you don't die. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. He's kind of like this weird like auto attack mage. I'm like, oh, this is kind of awkward, but I don't have the bandwidth to change anything else. And then it's like seeing this come down the line. It's like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Maybe I can play him the way I thought I was supposed to.
Other people have days now too, so I don't get knocked out of overkill. I'm thrilled pieces.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm excited.
You got me really excited, by the way, so I went digging, and I don't see Healing Ward anywhere on Brightwing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You didn't?
I don't see it.
Huh. Okay, I'm sorry. My apologies for the false information. I can't remember everything we do.
How dare you?
You should really see like, I mean, you guys see our patch note documents, but like we'll get them like 2 weeks before, and it's like, hey guys, can everyone review this and make sure we got everything because we may have goofed in the past. I will not admit to that. But like we sit down and like read it through, and it's like, and like I'll read something like, hey, are we doing that this patch? No, that's the next one. Okay, wait, then why does it say this? Oh wait, okay, we're doing that this like we're so many releases ahead. Sometimes like I'm like, which build was this? Like, cause like this one, like we locked down. Am I allowed to say how long ago we locked down? No, I'm probably not. Okay, a while ago. That's all I can say.
That's fine.
I love your
Okay,
enthusiasm.
Siobhan says I keep my job. But like, I mean, it was a while ago, and so it's like I can't remember.
Swinging back around to some of the stuff we will get to play with, hopefully very soon. Obviously, the Butcher is right around the corner. He seems, at least, from what we've seen from his previews, to fill a really similar role to, say, Thrall or Illidan.
Uh-huh.
So are teams gonna, like, players out there, once it gets out in the wild, are we gonna want to use similar compositions that we've been seeing in the past with Illidan, like a Tassadar or an Abathur, to kind of enhance him?
Oh, I'd definitely say so. Like, he is that melee assassin. Like, and it's kind of like if we introduce a new tank and be like asking, hey, are we gonna want to have the same ranged attackers behind this tank? Yeah, probably. I mean, he plays completely different from those other heroes, but he definitely brings like a similar role. He's like this high sustained damage. He's gonna punch into your backline and he's just gonna tear people up. He presents a much different early game though. And so I think that's where you're going to see different team comps wanting to run him based on the battleground. So if it's a battleground where he can roam around and get a lot of ganks where people don't have easy escapes, I think we're going to see Butcher picked a little bit more. I mean, assuming like we've gotten the tuning right, plead the fifth on that one. Assuming we get the tuning right, like, I think there'll be certain maps where Illidan would be a little bit more favored versus Butcher and Thrall. I think Thrall is not seen as much in the competitive play, which is interesting because like our stats show like he's up there. Like, across the board. Like, I think there's some small tweaks. Did we make any changes to this patch? I'm looking at you guys because you guys would know better than me.
I have them.
Anyways,
just scrolling through it.
Okay, like, I mean, just like numerically speaking, Thrall's in a relatively like good spot. It's like, why aren't we seeing more of him? Like, we're not sure.
Yeah, no.
But anyways, like Butcher definitely fills a lot of that same stuff. Like, he's got that high sustain for a melee DPS, kind of like how Thrall does. I mean, they just do it in two completely different ways. Like, Butcher wants to single him out, and he's like, I'm coming for you. Butcher, we really wanted to capture that horror fantasy. Like, one of our artists was super passionate about this character. Like, and he was just like at my desk every other day. He's like, hey, for the Butcher, it'd be cool if he did this. I'm like, yeah. and like he was like, I come to him like, hey, bro, I'm like, we're doing Butcher. Like, he needs to be really different from Stitches. Like, how do you see the differences or whatnot? And he's like, well, it's like the Stitches is like this like Freddy Krueger's got like the mask on, he's chasing you around with like the chainsaw. I'm like, okay, like the Butcher's like, you open your closet and you see him, you're just dead. You're already dead and you're dismembered and you're like, I'm like, oh, that's kind of dark and bleak. But he's right, like that's the Butcher. Like, it's just this pure like, this isn't playtime. Like, you are not an object to play with. And to Stitches, you are an object to be played with. To the Butcher, like, you're meat to be carved. And like, it needs to be, said with that serious tone. Like, that's straight up how he sees you.
I am deeply unsettled now. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, I'm
no
loving
problem.
this.
And so he's gonna. We wanted you. It was really awkward. I had to design this here because I'm like, I don't like horror movies at all. It's like, how did I end up with this hero? Anyways, but we wanted to capture that fantasy. So like, he's hunting you from afar, and like you hear like the fresh meat, and you're like, oh, he's coming. Where's he coming from? Oh, he's here. And then and now you're chained to a post, and you're not going anywhere, and like you're dead. And so. I think he'll definitely bring some different playstyle patterns to him than Illidan. He has a lot more AoE burst that Illidan does not have through Furnace Blast. He has much better single target lockdown than Illidan does, and he's a lot less mobile than Illidan. I think Illidan I think does better with supports that can keep him alive. Butcher will do better, I think, with supports that have CC and strong CC. So a Malfurion Root. Someone that can hold him in place. Like, Butcher just needs his target held there so he can eat him, right? Like, just chop, 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 and lifesteal off of him. Like, that's all Butcher needs. So a tank and a support that can CC for him is much more needed. Whereas Illidan wants the Abathur hat. I mean, and Butcher to be honest, Abathur just wants anybody who gets in there for him. So Abathur likes Johanna, Illidan, and Murky. Like, those are Abathur's three favorite best buds, right? And Rhaegar loves Illidan because Illidan's Metamorphosis gives him the window of time for Ancestral to be guaranteed to go off if they time their combo correctly, right? And so I think those pairings are a little bit more stronger for Illidan, whereas Butcher's like, give me someone that can just lock someone down for me, because otherwise I have to use Lamb for the Slaughter to lock them down, and maybe I want Furnace Blast for the AoE damage. So I think that there's going to be some slight different variations, but I think he'll fill a very similar hole in team comps.
No, that's great. Can we also pick your brain about the monk?
I am not allowed to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right. I'm just very excited about new support.
I'm allowed to talk about one small thing, but I'll probably screw it up if I talk about that.
Danger zone. We'll pass it.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it.
I was gonna ask a question, but yeah, we'll just someone else can talk about the monk, and it'll be awesome, and I'm sure they'll be passionate about it. And I love the monk. That's all I'm allowed to say.
Sweet.
Okay, I still get to keep my job. Okay.
Well, since you've had much longer time to play it than we have, any tips for Battlefield of Eternity?
It's a tricky map from like a high level perspective. There's a lot of variables that need to be tracked.
The middle of the map is
it's amazing.
it is.
I cannot wait to see the death heat maps for this map. It's gonna be glorious. It's gonna like Jackson Pollock just everywhere. I would definitely say you want to like be tracking your immortals. So there's the way I look at the game at a high level perspective is there's this 2x2 grid. If you're ahead, you don't team fight. If you're on equal talent tiers, you wait till you're up a talent tier, then you team fight. And if you're behind, you don't team fight. If you're behind a talent tier, you wait till you're even on talent tiers. So that's great. We have this nice clean grid. When do I fight? When do I not? And then you have the immortal spot, and you're like, crap. But what you want to really do is kind of look at it like, okay, we're behind, so we want to fight by our immortal and be defensive with it. Meanwhile, the more we're doing this, the more we're not soaking lanes. And likewise, if we're ahead, okay, we have to be careful if we engage them and they're defending by their immortal. So I think you're going to see a lot of interesting cat and mouse between the middle. And it's part of why I love the middle's layout design is that it makes it awkward to do that. Like you have all these weird like pathing blockers and fog, and so like transitioning between the two immortals, which is what the two teams will do, because both teams want to fight by their immortal because of all the defensive natures of the immortal. And so you have like these things that are like, what's going to happen is you're going to see like the Arizona State Hearthstone happen all over again, where people are like, oh well, quick, like let's maneuver here. Oh, I got caught by the pathing blocker, but like, cause like you body blocked me for like a second, which was just enough time for them to catch me, and then like now we have a team fight in the middle, and we didn't want this team fight, and now we lost. Like it's gonna totally happen. It's gonna be glorious. Like we're gonna watch people die because they couldn't move around a rock. Like, I mean, not really. That's why they died, but like when you look at it more deeply, like, oh my gosh, she died because they didn't move like a school of fish, right? Like somebody was just a half second off. Like, and I think that's gonna be really cool. I think one of the things to keep in mind is just like watching that immortal. It's going to be tricky. I think we're going to see really good use out of split pushers like Zagara and Asmodean and Vikings on this map, because during the immortal event, that split push team, they don't really want to necessarily take the immortal. They just want to make it take forever for the other team. And as long as they do that, they're soaking both lanes, and they might get like a talent tier advantage and then be like, oh, you got the immortal. Oh, that's cute. We're going to murder you now because we have a talent tier advantage, right? And so I think there's going to be a lot of interesting strategies that come out of it, and it's just like the layout of the battleground is one of the more interesting ones. Like that jungle is just a death pit, and it's going to be glorious. I think Scouting Drone and like Peekaboo on Brightwing and Clairvoyance are going to see a lot of play just for that battleground. So that's actually a fun stat we should see if we can get. It's like, let's look at these talents per battleground and see. Like, I'll be really curious to see what happens here.
Just in the few games I have played on the PTR, any type of zone control ability is just terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
In the center area, because there's so many nooks and crannies and so many fog walls.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned Butcher, but it's a 2-lane map, but someone left that middle door, and that's going to go horribly.
That middle, it's really, I guess, I think we're in the office, we're always excited when stuff goes out, and like we pulled up Twitch, and I think like Grubby was streaming or something like that, and so someone's like watching him, and he's playing the new Vikings, and he like just runs Eric straight to the gate at level 1 and just has Eric pew, 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 attacking that gate, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's genius. We never thought of that. Like, let's see if it pays off for him or whatnot. But like that gate sees a lot of play. Like the 1 and 2 in the Spider Queen, it's cool. It has its moments, but like it doesn't see play every game. That gate sees plays like almost every single game because there's that summoner camp right outside it, and like there's so much action that's just on that midline that it's a fascinating. I can't wait for it. I think the players are gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's what little I've gotten to try has been really exciting. I'm wanted to go live. Can you just go hit the button right now?
They don't pay. Yeah, no, that's not allowed for me.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think we're already out of time with you, Kent-Erik. You've been.
Oh wow.
You've
I'm
been.
Sorry. You probably had all these other questions you wanted to ask, and I just wasted them with stories.
Well, you're sworn to secrecy on the monk, which
yes.
I was just going to berate you endlessly about that if you were allowed to talk about it. But
you're going to like him. That's all I can say.
Great. No, that's good to hear.
He's a blast.
Because I hear about a new support, and I'm just got my pom-poms ready.
It was a delight to have you, man. I'm glad someone as passionate as you is designing this awesome of a game.
Well, we have a very passionate team in general. I'll say that. We all love this game to death. We play it way too much. Like I got like a vacation coming up, and I have to like I can't play the game. That's gonna be really hard for me. It's gonna be a struggle. The struggle is real, man.
You're gonna come back, and the patch will.
Like I see the Matrix.
And meta will completely change.
Yeah, I'll be like, wait, what patch are we on? I forgot what we did. That's really what's gonna happen.
Is Monk out yet? Those two guys really wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. I'm just really excited for. I think Leoric is who I'm. Like, I think the Butcher's really cool. All right, let's be honest. The Butcher's really cool. But like Leoric, man, he's just so cool. Like it's pretty.
Leoric's the one I'm most excited about. I wanted to pry about the Monk because it's one we heard the least about at 3.
There were reasons.
I figured as much, but I think it wouldn't hurt to ask.
Hey, listen, our PR people, they know what they're doing. Siobhan's a smart one.
Siobhan's been great. I think she can hear what I'm saying. So.
Oh, she totally can. She's heard
Siobhan.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, where can folks find you when you're not guesting?
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at Kent-Erik, Centaur IK. It's a play on word with my name because I have fun with that. But yeah, you can find me on there. You can find me. I'm not very on there much. I'm sorry, fans. I do occasionally, like maybe once every 3 months. I should probably do it more. I don't know. I'll talk with Siobhan about it. Post on the Blue forums under Kent-Erik as well. But Twitter's probably a more safe place to find me. Go ahead and just tweet at me, and if I'm allowed to answer, I will. If I'm not, I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't say anything. But you can find me on there. I think also, am I allowed to say I stream? Okay, yeah, I stream every Monday night, 7 p.m. Pacific, if you want to come. It's like a Hero League replay analysis stream, so it's for if you want to level up your game, you can come join me, twitch.tv/Kent-Erik, and learn about heroes. But yeah.
That is great. Well, awesome. Everyone go check that out. And thank you again. Thank you. And thanks to Siobhan for putting this.
Yes. Thank you, Siobhan, for letting us do this. I love talking about heroes. So thank you for having me.
Well, hopefully we'll see you again very soon. Enjoy your vacation.
Oh, I will.
Have a good one, Kent-Erik.
Okay.
Oh, well, that was just splendid.
Yeah. Well, we still got a whole show to do.
Yeah, we do.
But
yeah. And I am huge for some reason on the overlay. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened.
But it'll fix itself.
Will it?
No, just live with it. It's fine. You'll be okay.
Guys, Kyle has been a damned lifesaver because Verizon, my ISP, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to fix my issue. And yeah, I'm stuck not being able to stream at the moment. But geez, Kent-Erik, what a great guy.
Yeah, well, I got to say it to his face, but passionate man.
Can we just have him like be a permanent third chair on the show?
I don't think that'd work out. You know, we'd start getting excited about something coming, and then we'd just get slammed. You know, with the old block. Can't talk about that quite yet.
Can't talk about shh. Can't talk about that.
What if we guess correctly, and then he gets in trouble because he lets it slip? So it's just dangerous timing.
Oh, well, that's great. Right before we go into the news, I did want to let everyone know that we are going to give a Lily code away to someone in the chat room at the end of tonight's show. And we're also going to give a Zeratul code away to a lucky patron. So patrons, if you want to possibly win Zeratul, just comment in the post for this episode, episode 56 of Into the Nexus. And maybe we'll give you a free Zeratul. So, again, doing that at the end of the show. Now, Kyle, let's get into this week's news.
Boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Point me to the stage.
Click the play button, and let's get started.
Yeah. So, obviously, we talked a lot about this already with Kent-Erik, so we're going to try not to retread too much ground already. But the PTR is live. It has been for 2 days now. Kyle, you and I have played a decent amount of it.
Yeah.
It's weird because you're talent gated.
Yeah, you are talent gated in there. You do have every purchase you've ever made, including master skins. So if you're a level 1 hero, you can still equip the master skin because it's actually a purchase. You also have the full free-to-play rotation. So actually, you get in there with a big selection, but you are talent gated, and you do need to play multiple games in quick match in order to actually get to see everything there is new. Like Malfurion, pretty big rework. It took me about 3 games to get to click them all.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. Yeah, because I've been in there, and I don't think I've still fully untalent-gated Brightwing, who is the one I'm the most excited about because he's had a massive rework.
Right. Well, your perspective's probably off because we played a number of custom games, so we could play the new map, and you don't get any XP when you just play with friends. So
yeah, I've mostly custom games. That was the other strange thing about the PTR is that you go into quick match, and it's not just Battlefield of Eternity. There's 3 other maps in there as well. Now, granted, they have removed a chunk of Battleground, so it's a lot more likely that you will get Battlefield of Eternity. But I'm just so confused by it as a testing place.
It is odd. All we can do is theorize right now. Blizzard hasn't made an official statement about it. I wasn't going to throw that at Kent-Erik because everyone's confused right now. But
yeah, also I don't think he's in charge of the PTR.
Exactly.
He makes heroes.
So
like actual hero, like not the game as a whole. Like he makes actual individual heroes.
But really, what the community's kind of come up with is that if you had everything unlocked, no talent gating whatsoever, people might just start playing there all the time instead of actually working on their accounts.
But I want to test it, and I
Right.
want to test it correctly.
Yeah, I know, me too.
You know what would make me spend more time in the actual game if I didn't have to grind and level up the characters in the PTR.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, minor complaints. I'm super stoked that we even got in and we got a chance to try out Battlefield of Eternity, because I was not just being polite because Kent-Erik was here. That Battleground is freaking awesome.
Oh, and Doribo in the chat just let us know that they're going to untalent gate it. Next update.
Thank God. Oh, delightful. It'll make our patron game interesting tonight, though, because we do have some talents unlocked now, and I'm not sure everyone who joins our game will have their talents unlocked. But hey, it is what it is.
Hey, I made the post, Monday? They've had time.
They have. You know, they can get as prepared or as not prepared as they want. And
Exactly.
like I said, I don't think Brightwing, who I really want to play because I'm trying to get accustomed to her new build. I'll probably be playing her anyway. I don't think I ever completely untalent-gated. So anyway, dude, there's a lot of PTR patch changes to talk about, and we're not going to talk about all of them because that would just be like listening to the decree of the king of the Nexus.
Right.
And
There's a reason this is an article posted for you to read at your leisure. But, first we mentioned with Kent-Erik, we talked about days a little bit. Let's go ahead and cover that because we mentioned it. If you're not quite familiar what's happening yet, it's basically that any ability that moves people previously included a momentary stun for the duration of that movement. You jump forward with Kerrigan, do your primal grasp with your little tentacles coming out of the ground, pulling people towards you. For the duration of that pull, those dudes stopped moving. Now you get in there, you're pulling auto-attacking people, you're pulling a Tychus who's overkilling you right towards you. These heroes are Brightwing, Emerald Wind, Chen, Wandering Keg, ETC, Meltface, Falstad, Mighty Gust, Kerrigan, Primal Grasp, Raynor, Penetrating Round, Sergeant Hammer, Concussive Blast, and Tychus Frag Grenade. Are now
none
days.
of the stun anymore. Now they all days.
Yep.
Craziness.
So
yeah, I was watching you play Kerrigan in the PTR today, and you were just like, "Ah!"
I don't want to pull these people towards me.
Go away. Yeah, no, I feel like that's a huge nerf to Kerrigan. Like she's already one of the harder characters to play correctly, and now one of her main abilities, I mean, you'll still be able to do. Why can't I? I don't play her a lot. What is the spikes that come out of the ground and actually stun someone?
I don't know. They go ka-chink.
There's nothing stopping you from still doing your combo.
Right.
So, and the thing is you're gonna need to do that now to be safer.
Well, she's always been very combo dependent, and that is Impaling Blades. But
There you go.
previously, you would pull someone for a second with Primal Grasp, get that stun, and then Impaling Blades would pop, you'd stun them for a second. So really, it was a 2-second stun that was never really intended. But this is also happening to all these heroes. Everybody is going to be affected by this change. So it's hard to say who's actually getting nerfed. We know who is definitely getting buffed off of this. And those are people who are going to benefit from not being interrupted, like Lili's Thousand Cups, like Strafe on Vala. Oh my goodness. The easiest way I've found to kind of digest this idea is my Tychus versus an Asmodan. Asmodan shoots me with All Shall Burn, 1 laser in my face. Before level 16, my grenade knocks him out of it because he moves. He's stuck standing there channeling the ability. If you move someone who is channeling a Nazebo using Ravaging Spirit, that ult is going to be canceled. But all of a sudden, as Modan gets level 16, he can now move while he's doing All Shall Burn. Now, since he could move while it was going, it isn't counting as a stationary channel, and Daze does not affect it.
Yeah, I'm so surprised by how many changes there are in this patch. Like, it almost feels like a beta patch.
It's a huge change.
And again, technically on the PTR, doesn't necessarily mean it's going live, but I have a feeling a lot of this is going to go through.
They've been saying for a long time that a lot of this is unintended. And in fact, we had the Vala rework some patches ago where she could be interrupted while she was jumping across the field. So they're just bringing everyone in line.
Yeah. Not straight.
And
Vault.
The
Vault
chat room is discussing Chen, which is an interesting idea to this. It is actually a nerf to Chen a bit because all these dazing abilities move him and he's channeling a stationary ability. You're going to break his drink.
Yep. But, you know.
And Marchison is 13. Thank you.
You would have broke his drink before.
Right, you would have. But he's not benefiting from this change.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a nerf to him because he also had his Wandering Keg is now a daze instead of a stun. But, I mean, other than that, it doesn't really affect his ability to create a shield because it would have stopped it in the past and it still stops it now. If anything, at least you're just not stunned now. You know, you're just moving slower.
Exactly.
So... Blood for Blood got a change. The slow is gone from it. It now only does 10% damage of the target's maximum health. It used to do 15. But all is not lost. The heal amount has been doubled. It used to do 100% of the damage dealt. Now it does 200% of the damage dealt.
As healing. So more of a healing spell now than actually a snag. Still great for, taking out that last 10% of a target's health, sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I've always taken it on heroes that really need the health, and the damage burst is just a bonus, and now that's even more the case.
Yeah, and what am I gonna? I get a slow off on Johanna because I'm trying to get health out of this ability. I never really need the slow in the first place. Yeah,
and Venom got kind of side nerfed.
Yeah, duration increased by 5 seconds, so it's up to 10 doing the exact same damage. And as we all know at dots over time, the longer they go, the more chance there are for a heal to come in.
Exactly. You can actually make it to the fountain. You can catch that. You can wait for that gust of healing to come off of the Brightwing. There's a lot of things that can save you within those 10 seconds. So I feel like Venom got a big nerf here, and also it's not on Brightwing anymore.
No.
Which I liked in Venom on Brightwing. Damn it. She's should be a poisonous lizard thing.
It's a fun ability. I really like taking it on Nazebo, but really I only focus on in Venom when I know the other team has insufficient heals in the first place. So this duration change doesn't really affect that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Does the dot break stealth? So if it still does, then that's 10 whole seconds that Zeratul and Nova cannot recloak.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Promote got a relatively massive change, and also anyone who has a custom version of Promote was changed as well. There was a direct quote from Team 1 saying, "We've heard a strong amount of feedback specifically from the competitive scene about the Promote talent. We'd like that Promote offers an early game lane advantage, but it can be a problem as players start spending an exceedingly long time killing promoted enemy minions. We're changing Promote to affect PvE only, meaning a promoted minion will do increased damage to enemy minions and structures and take reduced damage from these same sources. However, their new combat abilities will have no impact on other heroes, allowing for players to quickly clean up a promoted minion wave." So Promote now, it no longer gives minions a 300% health increase or a 100% damage increase. Instead, the targeted minion now takes 75% reduced damage from non-heroic targets, and it deals 100% bonus damage to non-heroic targets. So creeps, I'm assuming other mercenaries and structures.
Right. They said it here PvE. It is now a PvE talent. Interesting that they brought it up as an early game advantage. Of course, I think of Promote and think giant catapults, and I hate them in the late game. But getting locked down, objective pops up. There's some giant little knight wailing on your gate. You got to leave him there. The fort is pushed by the time you get back. I guess they saw an issue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, now you'll be able to kill these things just as fast as you can kill any other mercenary.
Right, you'll really only be taking it in opportunities where you're split pushing. Asmodan's got his trait, which can be talented, got the same exact treatment. Zagara's also a bit different on Zagara. She's still increasing the damage, but it's a PvE only talent now as well.
It's still the most damage by a large margin that you can grant a non-player. But yeah, it's also been it's only non-heroics. So, and this makes sense. It's fine. It's not something you see in casual play, really, almost ever. But they specifically brought up the competitive scene. So there you go. Protective shield got changed. It now shields for 15% of the target's maximum health. It used to be a flat number that increased with level, and it's no longer on Brightwing. That's the thing I'm gonna miss the most is protective shield on Brightwing.
Yeah, but remember, that's being removed from Malfurion. Basically, every healer is going to have really specific jobs now.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Just, man, I'm going to miss that. I mean, Brightwing lost a lot of stuff. Like, a lot of her you had to take it talents are just gone now.
Perfect.
Completely kaput out of the game, which is fine. I'm going to have to react to that. But for whatever reason, Protective Shield is the one that I'm just looking at like, this is going to take some getting used to. But... anyways, we already talked about removing Unstoppable, correct?
A little bit, but these are particular heroes that never were intended to have Unstoppable in the first place. This is your Chen Flying Kick, Falstad Barrel Roll, Illidan Dive, Illidan Sweeping Strikes with the Unbound talent, and Kerrigan's Ravage. Poor Kerrigan, man. Nerf to her Ravage. You can now be interrupted if you're jumping across the thing of roots. You're going to get stuck in it. You're pulling people towards you that are still attacking. You had Envenom as one of your main talents. That sucks now. So, man, getting a little messed up there. But we're definitely going to see some... I don't think this is going to affect us too much. For the most part, people flying through the midair really quickly don't really get CC'd. I mean, think of how many real problems you've had with a Vala ult since they made that change. Not too many. You usually get out of everything you want to. Really, the only person I'm seeing heavily affected by this is Illidan, because Illidan uses his dive to jump over bosses so he doesn't have to get stuck in the slam or walk out of it. Just continually everywhere. Standing in the poop is going to be awful for Illidan now.
No, absolutely. It's a pretty sizable nerf to him. As for everyone else, these are all abilities that are already incredibly fast movement abilities. I don't think you also need Unstoppable on top of it.
Agreed.
So, and I don't necessarily think that this shouldn't be the case for Illidan as well. I mean...
Well, and if you want to, make a PR statement about it by saying it was never intended to work that way anyway, there's nothing we can really argue about.
No, unless of course you see and I'm sure that they would address it if you see a massive dive in the statistics for the win rate of these characters. But everyone, if you want this to stay, let's all band together and on purpose play terribly on these heroes.
Tank those ratings.
You really want Illidan to keep that unstoppable? Lose on purpose.
I don't think you should be handing out this advice anymore.
Well, I don't play Illidan, and I'm sick of losing to Illidan.
Right,
so
lose on purpose in quick match, please.
Go for it. Yeah. See, this is my plan. This is my plan. Summons can now be controlled while dead. So your Water Elemental is Jaina, Kerrigan's Ultralisk, Nazeebo's Gargantuan, Rainer's Banshees, and Tychus's Drill. All of these things can now be controlled when you are dead. I'm so excited.
It's important to note that Nazeebo's Gargantuan has never been targetable, but you can totally sit there and slam your heart's content, and he might stand by someone you want to be slamming. For the most part, the Gargantuan still just wanders off and pushes some lane somewhere. But still, hey, you have a minute death cooldown at level 20. Well, guess what? You get to watch your Gargantuan. It's actually kind of fun. And getting to retarget all these abilities is a welcome change.
I really wish that with Kerrigan's Ultralisk and Rainer's Banshees, we could box select them and just control it like StarCraft.
Oh, from the get-go?
Yeah. Like if you're dead, and now you can just box select and you get StarCraft controls.
Yeah, you only get to box select Lost Vikings in this game.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the blind rework when Kent-Erik was here, and he was losing his mind about it.
Yeah, that kind of makes me scared. I was thinking, okay, this is kind of like a quality of life change, right? This is making things clearer to the users. Yeah.
Well, let's spell out because we didn't really get specific about it when we talked about it then. Louis' blinding wind Now any target that's affected by it are going to miss all basic attacks throughout the duration of the spell. The duration has been reduced to 2 seconds, and the talent Lingering Blind now increases the duration by 50%. But yeah, so this is going to have a much higher effect on anyone that has a particularly fast basic attack speed, your Valas of the world, your Illidan's of the world.
Yeah, in the past, this was just a number of attacks. So your Vala, you shoot off 2 attacks real quick, blind's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're just, for 2 seconds, you're just like, and it doesn't sound like much. That's absolutely, the difference between someone making it safely behind a wall and not.
Yep.
So big change. Same thing happening to Joanna's shield glare. So it's been the duration has been reduced from 4 to 1.5 seconds. But again, every basic attack made within those 1.5 seconds misses. So once again, same thing. A lot more effective on someone with a fast attack speed than on a slow attack speed. So you Joanna blinding another Joanna, why bother?
Right.
We already talked about days a lot, so moving on from that. There's a new stat on the tab screen in the PTR that I'm super excited about. It's only tanks can see it, warriors, sorry, in this game, and it's damage taken. I think this is great.
Yeah, so it's now where healing was. It goes under the category of roll. So sorry, ETCs out there, you can no longer see how much healing you did.
What a shame.
But if you are a warrior class, you will see the damage taken stat. From my perspective, basically, the more damage you took and the less deaths you had, you succeeded at making a good stat.
Yeah. Let's talk about some hero buffs. So we already talked about Tychus and how excited we are about his basic attack range increase. I'm actually going to try out Tychus now, for real this time. I have not touched him since a year ago when we got into the closed alpha.
Oh man.
Yeah,
you and I both kind of trashed him when we first met him.
I hate it. I was just like, how could this guy ever be good? And then 2 weeks later, it's like, Tychus is God.
Yep.
Because he had the second health bar with Odin at the time.
Right.
And if you're just now joining us, there was a time, folks, where if he died in Odin, he just popped out as Tychus with whatever health he had when he went into Odin. And it was amazing.
Oh, it was incredible. And I totally flew that as my banner for a good couple months. And I still play a lot of Tychus. So I'm super thrilled about this.
Yeah, it's good. Tell me about Abathur. What do you think of his change?
So this is a pretty simple quality of life change, but a lot of Abathurs are going to be real excited about this. When you take the talent Networked Carpus, where you would cast Carpus and it would shield everyone in the area, mainly being minions, you had to be very smart about what you selected. You couldn't select your monstrosity, and you couldn't select a locus, otherwise the shield would not go to everyone in the area. Now it does.
Nice. Network those carapaces. Network them all day.
Zeratul also got a pretty big buff. His level 4 Vampiric Strike has been changed to Vampiric Assault. Thank you, Team 1. And it now does 25% of the damage dealt, rather than something like 10% on auto attacks. Pretty huge buff for him.
Yeah, that's a little frightening.
He doesn't really have the health, though, so just don't let the Zeratul go, right? All by himself? Let's not leave him alone.
Still. Just saying. Nazebo's Leaping Spiders got an improvement.
Have you seen those things? Like in the current live game, they just go, they jump towards one person and then they pick another target and they just jump between 2 people. It's ridiculous. Now they target one person like they should and stay on them, which is more important.
Okay, so another bug is getting smarter.
Exactly.
First it was an Uber-X Beetles, now it's Nazebo's Leaping Spiders. And then Stitches and Tyrael also both got some significant buffs. Getting also Vampiric Assault removed and Vampiric Strike added. And then his Judgment can no longer be cast on non-heroic targets.
And on Stitches, you're getting a mana reduction for Slam and Devour. Stitches has mana problems. Great change. Also a cooldown reduction of 6 seconds on your Devour, which is his only tank ability, really. This isn't like other MOBAs. There are no hidden stats. There is no, let's just up his armor and that gives him survivability. Devour is what made him so durable in the past.
Yeah. Not a Stitches player, so I'll live.
All right. I doubt you'll see too much more of him.
Yeah. Let's talk about some nerfs. We talked quite a bit about Illidan, but there's even more to say. Metamorphosis has been changed quite a bit. Well, at least the initial blast of Metamorphosis. The radius of his damage, his AoE damage when he casts Metamorphosis has been decreased by 25%. And then his damage has been decreased from 200 plus 10 per level to 20 plus 4 per level. So you're not going to be just wiping the entire team with your Metamorphosis before you even get a chance to stab somebody.
It was about the size of a panicking team running away from an Illidan, so I'm very happy to see the area reduction. 20.
That is like your unit of measurement. Like, oh, it's about the size of a panic team trying to get away from an Illidan.
Right, we weren't stacked like we're doing some WoW boss. We were just fleeing, and it could still hit everybody. The damage was absurd. It's been brought in line with the damage done by Hunt, and it also is a teleport for him. There's a lot of reasons why Metamorphosis is amazing. Quality of life change, I think, but mix it with all that other stuff in the background that's happening with him. His Unstoppables being taken away. Pretty big nerf to Illidan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his attack speed still super fast when he's in his demon form, so that hasn't been changed. But the beginning of it is no longer your bread and butter. It's the increased damage from your attack speed from being in your demon form. So good, bring it on. I hated this damn talent.
This talent is not targeting, lower leagues at all. This is completely the pro scene. This change was needed for them. It's sad for people who just getting into the game are in love with Illidan in their own casual play. But
yeah. Murky, man, living the dream just cut off at the knees. The initial ability power bonus has been decreased by half from 10% to 5%. Now, when I was getting murky coached by your wife, Kyle, and she was like, I usually take living the dream. If you're dying a lot, maybe don't take living the dream. And now I feel like it'll be even less worth it to take this if you're not just amazing at not dying as murky.
They did a great job countering it, though. They upped the damage over time over the course of the game by level of Slime and Pufferfish. Pufferfish has more damage late game than it did previously.
Beautiful.
Which is a pretty big deal. So there are other talents at that tier. Granted, they weren't as good as the old Living the Dream, but you can vary it up a bit now.
Yeah. Slime, too. Slime, it's a very minor uptick for Slime, but, man, by the end of the game...
Yeah.
You're not going to want to be in a room alone with Murky.
Yeah, well, it goes up 6.2 per level, so they're kind of pulling some gas prices on us, but over multiple levels, those points will add up.
Yeah. Sylvanas finally getting a change to possession. It's not necessarily nerfed, by the way. It's just she had some other changes. But let's talk about possession. It now has charges. Specifically 7 of them, and each charge takes 12 seconds to recharge. If you convert a regular creep, that's just going to cost you 1 charge. But if you convert a catapult, that's going to be 5 of your 7 charges. So you won't be able to do 2 catapults back to back.
Exactly. So this is the change of possession. They said it came from a fan posting on the forums. So cool that they're listening there. Of course, these charges are all on their own cooldown timer. So you blow 7 as quick as you can. It has a really short global cooldown, so you're able to do it in about 4 seconds to take a whole lane, 7 charges, 7 lane minions. There you go. At level 20, though, you get even more charges, and it regenerates even faster. And then you're getting into taking 2 catapults. You're spending 5 to get a mercenary, so you can then at level 20 take the 2 giants walking down the lane towards you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Kristen took it in our last game that we played today on the PTR, and she was really worried because we were going a quick match, and we won. We won handily. I'm not sure how much promote or possession had to do with that.
Not at all, really, because there was points in that game we were all saying, well, "Go take things, Kristen." She's like, "We can't. We're pushed out. I need to go into their base in front of their core to actually use my level 10 ability at level 12 or so."
We were winning too hard.
Yes, we ruined it for her. But I think this is a ability that you're going to take when you're really far behind. And follow me with this, because it's a nightmare situation. Let's say you have that Murky. He was stuck in a lane all by himself for some reason, and he got a core fort down. So there are now catapults coming towards you at level 10. You spend 5, you get yourself that catapult. That's a huge swing back in your favor to push that lane out again. Whereas a 3 level behind Wailing Arrow, when have you ever seen that win a fight? Like, a team 3 levels ahead barreling down on you, they're silenced. They don't care. They're just walking towards you. They still want to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, still a much higher chance to get a kill when they're silenced than not, but I don't know. I still think Wailing Arrow is the pick, to be honest.
Well, Blizzard agreed and they nerfed Wailing Arrow and reduced its damage by 60 when you take it at level 10.
I'm not getting it for the damage, man. I'm getting it for the silence.
Fair enough. I hope more people are.
The damage is nice, but it's all about the silence, man. It's a great way to start a fight.
I see a lot of Wailing Arrows shot aggressively out into no man's land, maybe getting that sweet kill as they get away, but those silences are for naught.
Yeah. Shmorier in the chat room says it could do no damage.
Good. I want to be on your team, man.
That they would still take it, even if it took no damage. And I would too. That large of a silence that I don't need to pull a Malfurion and get in the shit for is wonderful. I love it. So, Lily, Kung Fu Hustle, getting a cooldown reduction lowered from 200% to 150%.
Yep, and the explanation is, well, you see, if you reduce the cooldown on your abilities that are no longer being interrupted in the first place, that's a little overpowered. So, cups ho.
Yeah, it's because of the day's change. Now that cups aren't going to be interrupted hardly as much. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle. Getting a little bit of a nerf. Nubarak as well, we kind of saw this coming, but it's not as bad as I expected, Kyle.
Oh, no, it is reserved, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, me too, because I did not want to see a Nubarak disappear, and I don't think we're going to. His beetle movement speed has been reduced by, they said, approximately 16%, probably because they didn't want to give us some long run-on repeating number.
Sure.
Beetle damage has also been reduced from 8 plus 2 per level to 7 plus 1.8 per level.
Not huge. No,
not huge at all. And Locust Swarm has had its damage reduced by 20 plus 8 per level to a base of 16 plus 6.4 per level. So that is a sizable damage reduction, but the healing is still there.
Yep.
It's fine. You're still going to get... I honestly think Anubarak has been doing far too much damage.
I agree.
But he's a great tank. Wonderful mobility, lots of stuns. And now his stuns are going to be worth even more since so many people who used to have stuns are now dazes. I think this is great.
Yeah,
I love it.
If you want to kill people, take Web Blast and put it on either the Johanna or the support and just kill everybody. I'm very happy for Locust Swarm to be a tanking talent now. And I was a little surprised when I played him in the PTR because I was used to just running alongside teams and decimating them. And now I just stay alive. And the biggest nerf is really this beetle movement speed because they lag behind when people choose to run away. If they still stand and fight with you, 3 beetles is going to take out a Vala in your face, no problem.
Yeah. Do some serious damage. Lost Vikings, which chat room's been really wanting us to talk about. The new trait, Viking Horde. So gathering regeneration globes to permanently increase the Lost Vikings health regeneration by half or by 0.5 per second. And they no longer have decreased spawn timers.
Which was their previous trait. So now this is their all new trait. It was a level 1 talent that basically everybody picked. Spy games, a lot of new Lost Vikings players pick because it's real easy to just leave Eric in a lane by himself. But now Viking Horde is a trait for everyone. I like this change, but he's got rework. These patch notes are massive. We're not going to read them. Basically, what's the takeaway is that they agreed that Lost Vikings win rate was a little too high, so they brought it down. And there's some rather painful changes in here. For the average player, you're probably not going to notice them. If you're not used to playing, your 65% win rate Lost Vikings, these aren't really going to affect you. But dedicated players are really going to feel this.
Yeah, it's hard for me to comment because I'm not a big Lost Vikings player. But I can see that. I mean, that's a long time to wait for a third of a hero to spawn. Actually, a quarter of a hero as far as, a death count is concerned.
Right, exactly. You know, you're not losing some of the things that we thought were going to happen to a Lost Vikings nerf was like losing this ability build and maybe them enhancing the side stuff. The side stuff still got enhanced, but your ability build is still completely intact. It's just kind of nerfed everywhere.
Yeah. We talked at length about Brightwing. I'm not going to get back into that. We talked quite a bit about Malfurion and Rhaegar as well. Really, the big thing here is no changes to Kael'thas, which everyone was certain was coming. And I was I wouldn't say optimistic because he's one of my favorite heroes to play right now, but I was concerned. But Team 1 said, balance-wise, Kael'thas has a win rate near the middle of our assassins and has an appropriate impact on the game. In the future, we'd like to provide Kael'thas players with more diverse talent options instead of the single build most players are selecting right now. Oh, what of a build that could be, Kyle?
Oh, maybe the Living Bomb build, perhaps? I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like the Flame Strike build, man. Like, you want to get, like, the increased range on it.
I need that sick mana back for each target I hit, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so they also said there will be no Kael'thas changes in this patch, but adjustments to address talent diversity will probably hit in the near future. Please let that mean that you're going to buff the other talents and not nerf the most popular one.
I would hope so, but sometimes you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Because there's always combos, man. You know, who knows what new talent they add that would just make those later Living Bomb talents absurd and they have to nerf those, so.
I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
It's a whole new world, man.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's you either go Flame Strike or you go Living Bomb. Like, because what are you gonna, you're gonna do like the Gravity Lapse build? Like, what does that even look like?
I kind of like the level 4 talent where you increase the speed and range. That's good. There are certainly some emergency picks hidden throughout Kael'thas's talents that I really like. Like, you know, it's an awful talent. You don't want to take it. Arcane Barrier. But sometimes it's really late game and you just need anything to keep yourself alive.
Yeah. I've had some quick matches where I don't trust my healer at all.
Yep.
And just had to take that. But hey, it is what it is.
I mean, I know I've said before that I think Sunfire Enchantment, level 7, where you activate your spheres and get a cool auto attack spell. Like, that thing is just awesome. What a cool flavor thing. Maybe someday it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of changes that we kind of glanced over and went quickly through. You know, again, we don't want to sit here and just read off a list, so definitely head over to the official Heroes site and read the patch notes in full if you're interested or if you have not already. We've already talked quite a bit about Battlefield of Eternity as well, Kyle, but we did make time here to talk about our first impressions with the Battleground because we have played quite a few games on it now on the PTR. Any points that didn't get brought up during our discussion with Kent-Erik that you wanted to make sure and hit on?
Well, we didn't talk about goblins, and we were a little confused in the past what that was going to look like once we got in game. Well, now the public test realm is out, and we know that you have a special slot for these events going on. So
you're talking about the treasure goblin.
Exactly.
Okay.
So every day when you log in, you are going to get a treasure goblin quest, just one for the day, and it's to kill a treasure goblin. You get in the game, one assassin can kill these guys. It is not going to be a flame war. There is no reason why the goblin would get away unless everyone's throwing a fit. And then, even if it does, you only get one a day. 100 gold quest per day to kill a goblin. If nobody on the team has the quest, no goblins there, and they spawn on every single map.
It's pretty great, by the way. Deckard Cain voiceover, like... Not hard to... I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Just a bit of flavor, bit of fun. No one's being harmed, other than the goblin.
Really calm me down, like, because it's not hard to kill. We're probably not going to see people lose their minds because, oh my god, I can't believe you didn't kill the goblin. Stupid AFK Lily, how dare you go let your dog out?
Right, exactly. Like, these things move fast, sure, but, you know, one overkill on Tychus, I can keep up on it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So
I was happy to see that. It makes me thrilled for the future. That slot alone. What events are to come? The StarCraft event that might be on the horizon. What daily quest do we get for that one?
It'll be defend the 6 pool. Like
that'd actually be pretty cool. Just like
a bunch of lings just run into your base real quick, and if you kill them all, you get 100 extra gold.
Yep, 6 lings attack the core. They do nothing because the core has shields and a splash attack, but
and it regenerates.
Yep.
How good would that be? Oh my god, please. Please let that be the thing. Or like there's so many like Reaper drop in your base, or like there's so many places you could take this. Oh, a Nidus worm starts to come up, and if you kill it before it comes up.
Yeah, I like the chat. PSL, just build additional pylons. First couple moments, you got to hit that O, get some overlords out.
Oh, good. Please. I want all of this. Although they're changing Nidus worms so that you can't attack them. That's not a thing anymore. You can't attack the Nidus worms when they're before they've unburrowed.
All right, so I guess we'd have to wait for it to pop up, and maybe it'll shoot out some lame things, but no big deal. If treasure goblins are the standard we're moving forward with, we are going to be getting 100 free gold a day. Awesome.
Gonna be so great. So delightful.
The other thing about the map is the mercenaries are pretty darn powerful, particularly the goatmen, the
Khazra
goatmen. There's 3 of them instead of your 2 ogres. Once they have actually spawned, ogres, you can dodge those little siege rocks being thrown. These guys you can't dodge at all, and they love to attack passing by heroes, and they get a lot done on a lane.
Yeah, they do some serious damage. They attack fast, and like you said, you can't dodge what they're doing. The shamans are great too, because like creeps and structures are stupid, and they attack the dogs, and the dogs just keep respawning because if the shaman isn't killed, it just keeps bringing them back.
The dogs do have no health though, so don't ever waste a possession on one of those. But the fallen shaman, pretty decent, and he is right on top of getting a dog up once it's dead.
The thing I'm curious of is if you possess the shaman, does it then spawn 2 dogs to push with?
Yes. But then again, the dogs are, crap. That's the only thing you want to be possessing.
Oh, right. So.
But yeah, blow your enemy, Sylvanas is sure. Blow all your possessions on the dogs. Go for it.
Yeah. It's great. It's a good battleground. I really like it.
Yeah. Sweet taste of things to come out of a thing that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, exactly. Strange. We usually avoid public test realms like crazy on all of the other shows we do, but this is great, and I don't feel like it's going to diminish actual launch for me whatsoever.
Right, well, and these are really big changes. Maybe in the future we won't be as on top of a public test realm, but these days changes. This many people losing Unstoppable. 3 fully reworked healers, so they're more themed. I mean, this is going to be a huge patch.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we take some emails, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/ITN. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. All 151 of you now. Damn, that number's getting up there. We're getting close, Kyle. We're getting close to our next goal.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Casting some games in suits.
Yeah. Get a bow tie. Or a necktie. We'll see how I feel. Anyway, this week we wanted to thank Kevin O'Connell, Chris S, and Brian S. Chris C and Brian S. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Into the Nexus and you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com. $1, $2, $5, $50 if you're crazy.
If you're crazy, sure.
Yeah. Check it out. Let's take an email. I did not have the bumper queued up. I'm an idiot.
Darkness stopped calling.
I hear the wilds call. Wait, nature calls.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Ours today comes to us from Kyle M, who writes, "Greetings, heroes. I've been playing a lot of Rhaegar lately because it seems nobody wants to play support." Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. I'm constantly Garrett raging. Oh, come on. When my ancestral healing hits the fat patchwork instead of Illidan because they are dancing around each other. I also have this problem with casting my shield, chain heal, etc. The person I'm trying to heal always runs near another person, and I'm constantly playing this mouse over target game that isn't fun. I'm a healer in WoW, and I would love to have player unit frames to ensure I'm healing the person I intend to. Do you guys think this would help the game? Would more people play support? Or does this take away the skill shot for support roles? Thanks. Love the show. I would love something like this, and the heals he's talking about aren't actually skill shots, really.
Right, you are selecting a single target, but in this case, I think they are rather skilled shots because you're having to actually target people. And if you happen to be one of those heroes that hasn't been maybe updated yet to not like Malfurion, this talent's going away luckily, but right now, level 1 talent, you can choose to, whenever you heal a lane minion, it reduces the cost of it? What? You can regrowth lane minions? Who would ever want to do that? But there comes those times when lane minions standing on top of someone else and you just happen to click them. They have target priority. Heroes will always sort of hover above in selection, whatever they're standing over. But an Illidan flipping over the top of a patchwork, you might select the wrong dude. And it happens. Well, he said patchwork here, so I'm just using his phrase.
He did say patchwork. I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's a good point. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't know. I've totally done this too. And it's infuriating.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I don't think you could have the exact same thing. I mean, I'm thinking of Healbot, of course, because that's what I used back in the day, being a WoW healer. Gravitated towards healing because I don't like how you tab select. So I found healing easier with add-ons to just click everybody I want to do. But at the same time, I'm controlling myself with Wasada. So I can be running wild directions while taking care of managing a grid. I can't imagine having to both move myself and select a grid on the side of what I want to heal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I don't know. I wouldn't mind 5 portraits stacked vertically on the right side of the screen or something.
Yeah, I mean, this is the, Mario Party of MOBAs. So, an ult, maybe that brings up a cool selection healing screen. That'd be kind of neat.
That would be really interesting.
Kind of like in Super Smash Bros. When you get all the little pieces of the glider and you just get the little target.
What if it's like a global heal too? Like you could heal anyone on your team regardless of where they are, and that's how you do it. That's how you execute on it.
But they're all like floating around, and you have to select them. Play a little mini game. Play
like an angel. Imagine one of the angels from Diablo has it's a healer. Like how cool would that be if it like just disappears from the battleground and all the 4 other people just start getting healed like crazy?
Yeah, or you can just play Brightwing, who kind of already does that.
Yeah, but she doesn't disappear from the battleground. She gets even more into the fight.
Fair enough.
With Blink Heal, but yeah, no, Kyle, I feel your pain. But I would be really surprised to see this added.
It's just not a MOBA thing. But I understand the desire for it. Luckily, you're playing Rhaegar, so it is a chain heal. Granted,
yeah, so it's not the end of the world if you miss.
Right.
If you miss with Uther, you just
that's
game over.
12 seconds of shame.
Oh, jeez. I always wondered what it would feel like to have a healer that missing their heal felt as bad as missing a hook. And I played Uther.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's going to do it for our show. Patrons, make sure you stick around for the after show, and chat room, stick around because we're going to give away a Lily? You're giving away a Lily to the chat room? All right, do that. Into the Nexus is produced by amove.tv and Declan H, our patron producer. You can see more about this and all of the other shows over at amove.tv. Our email, once again, is itncast@gmail.com, and our subreddit is over at itncast.reddit.com. Thanks to those of you who are leaving us reviews in iTunes. We really appreciate it. It helps the show out a lot. So this week, thanks to Wise Guys, thanks to you, Goldorak, and thanks to Benjamin Brusecki, who says, how do I listen to the earlier episodes? To which I say, amove.tv/ITN. You can go there, or you can also go to our YouTube, where all of the past episode videos are available. And there's even a playlist if you don't want to queue them up over youtube.com/StarcastShow, because we can't change our YouTube domain. I've tried. Folks have even sent me a link saying you can change your YouTube domain, and I've gone through the steps, and it doesn't work. I don't know what's going on, but we're stuck with Starcast Show. But yeah, if you just type in AMove TV YouTube, that's the first freaking thing that pops up. So whatever. That'll do it. Check us live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Our mobile live stream is over on alphageekradio.com. You can follow us on Twitter at ITNcast. And big thanks to Brian Griffith for doing our intro music. You can see his work over at briangriffithmusic.com. Kyle, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson. You can find me on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time for my solo Q&A stream. Play some heroes. This week I jumped right into the PTR 1 hour after it opened up and tried to make the best sense of it I could. tried out all the new heroes I could, got to play quite a few games. In fact, there was enough viewers that we got together 2 custom games and did some 5v5 on the new map.
Nice. That's awesome. You can find me on Twitter at Garrett Art. My graphic design portfolio is over at nomoonart.com if you need a graphic designer, and you can find me always talking Hearthstone on the Angry Chicken, where this week we are having 2 guests. It's craziness. We're having Michelle Morrow on to talk about providing the voice for Illyria, and then after we're done chatting with her, Amaz is going to come on and talk about Team Archon's new Hearthstone Team League, which I'm very excited about.
Huh.
So going to be stacked and probably should be awesome as long as, I don't know, nothing catches on fire. Should be a pretty awesome episode, so go check it out. Just because we aren't running ads at the top of the show doesn't mean these codes are any less awesome, folks. Check out doghousesystems.com, or you can use the code ITN to get a 120 gigabyte solid-state drive added on to your already amazing Doghouse gaming rig. That's a free upgrade. It supports the show when you do it. That's on top of the already massive normal hard drive that's probably already chilling in that box. So go check it out. That same code ITN works over at tweakedaudio.com as well, where it'll get you 30% off and free shipping on your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from that site. So go to tweakedaudio.com, use the code ITN. We thank you guys for the support. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week for episode 57 of Into the Nexus. But until then, thanks to Kent-Erik Hagman for coming on the show, and good luck and have fun.
Take care.
That's a show.